So I think knowing where we are and knowing how we got here is really important to know where we need to go. So if you look at the current trends, right, before COVID, there were more people than jobs. So it was really healthy when you went to hire and you had 5 or 6 really attractive candidates and you actually had to pick. And then when COVID happened, it's the inverse now. So there's more jobs than people, which is the primary driver of why people get really frustrated trying to hire. So that's one issue. The other issue is the demographics. So we have a shrinking younger workforce. So your 16 to 24-year-olds are mostly going into school. They're not joining the workforce because the jobs that are available for entry level, they can't even have a livable wage on. So most people are choosing to go back to school or stay in school because they can't make it at these entry level positions. So knowing that you're shrinking younger folks, but you're also having an older workforce, so your 55 plus folks are sticking around longer. And that's for various reasons. A lot of people didn't plan for retirement, so that can be one thing. But also our health has gotten better, right? So people are able to stick around more. So when you look at our industry, physically demanding, a lot of travel, you have not just more, you have less people in the workforce, but then the demographics of that, you have fewer younger people coming in, and an aging workforce makes it really hard for us to keep this industry alive. So I really encourage people just to be creative because we have got to retain the people that have decided to enter and stick around with us. So part of the creativity is your flexibility with schedule. We've hired a lot of folks that only work 3 or 4 days a week. And that's great. If our market can support that, and we'd rather have some people than no people. so that's one thing we've tried to do, and really just provide a platform for people to be innovative and feel more engaged. So the biggest thing that we talk about is engagement of our employees. And it's interesting when you look at some studies where they've taken, mostly across the manufacturing industry, and they will ask people how engaged they feel versus how compensated they are. So the same employee making the same amount of pay who's experiencing their work differently, the engaged employee 43% of the time will say they're compensated fairly. The unengaged employee, about 13% of the time, will say they're compensated fairly. I'm not saying we shouldn't pay people what they're worth, but it is important to know that if you can change that engagement of how the employee feels and experiences their job, you have a much better shot at retaining. So I think that's probably the biggest driver that I would encourage.